Sony released a bunch of stuff at IFA today, including 3 new phones, a couple cameras, and a $300 MP3 player that appears to be directly from 2006. Dieter Bohn, you know all of what's going on. Tell me about these phones.
So it's 3 new Z3 devices. There's the Z3, which is, I think, a 5.2-inch device. Maybe it's a little bigger. There's a 4.6-inch Z3 Compact, which is sort of the ideal sweet spot phone for them, I think. And then there's the Z3 Tablet Compact, which is an 8-inch device. But
the streak of awful names at IFA continues.
It's insane, right? So the tablet's cool. It's super thin, but it's an Android tablet, so whatever. But the Z3 Compact is the one that I think is most exciting because unlike most compact phones or mini phones, it's just fully spec'd out. It's got the full megapixels, the full processor speed, a really nice screen. So like, if you want a good Android phone that isn't gigantic, this is the first one in a while that there hasn't been some weird compromise for.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty
And it's kind of like directly at the iPhone. That's kind of where they live.
Right.
And if you want an Android phone with a good camera, Sony's been kind of the place to go.
Yeah, they've always been a little bit better than everybody else, and there's always been like just one little piece that's like, oh man, if you guys would just fix X in your software, then we know you could be as good as the iPhone. So I'm really interested to see what these do.
And they've scaled back their software crazy.
Yeah, they've scaled it back a bit. So it's not, I mean, it's not as bad as the super early days. Right. It's still not pure Android, but it's way better.
And so the most exciting thing about all these phones is that they integrate with the PS4.
Yeah, so I think it's a PS4 Remote Play. So you could just, if you are on the same Wi-Fi network as your PS4, you just take the DualShock controller that you've already got because you own a PS4, and they sell a little plastic mount for it. You can, I think you might be able to do some touchscreen, but they want you to do it with the DualShock, and you just can play your PlayStation games. And if I have a PS4 and I'm going to buy an Android phone, I'm going to see if I can get a Sony because that's awesome. I don't have to go buy a Vita. I just can do it on my phone. And not only is that super cool, and it's the first time Sony's ever actually succeeded at using its PlayStation brand on its phones. Remember they tried to do
the PlayStation phone?
The PlayStation phone, and there was like the store, and then they had to deal
try
with
this garbage, and everyone was like, no.
They had to deal with HTC for a while that like never went anywhere.
Whose deal with HTC never gone anywhere?
So anyway, this is great. It's like that's what I want.
And it's also
out
like
of a phone.
screw you, Microsoft. Like you've been making this promise for a long time,
right?
And you can't.
They've never made the promise, have they?
I mean, that's what smart glasses for all this stuff. They've never gotten to the place where Sony has gotten very quickly. It seems like.
Yeah, like the Microsoft should have been doing this for years, and like I don't even think it's on the horizon for them right now. So yeah, like more bad news for the Xbox One.
Wow, rough. So speaking of cameras, Sony, they continue with their lens cameras.
Yes.
These big mounts, you can mount them like an iPhone or any other phone. You get a better sensor and lens.
Yeah, so it's just like a giant lens that you would normally see on their little Alpha line of cameras. Used to be called the NEX line, and they're basically like the E-mount lens. That's their small format. So there's a new one that's the QX30. It's like a super zoom. It's it's a big ass lens that you strap to the back of your phone. The thing that I'm excited about is the QX1, which is still pretty expensive, but it's basically the mount and the sensor, but not the lens. So if you're already bought into Sony's camera ecosystem, you've already got the glass sitting around, you can just attach it to this thing.
And I was really excited about the previous generation of these, but the software is a little janky. Like, Sony, they've got to make better software.
Right, and it's the same story. It's always like, oh, we've gotten better, it's getting faster, but is it faster than pulling out the camera that's like not that much bigger than this lens? Yeah. No, it won't be.
Yeah, I mean, but the idea of having a great lens, you can take your photos directly to your phone. is like awesome.
Yeah,
it's
like
whether
it's a super great idea.
Sony just has to figure it out.
Right.
What else? They did watches.
Yeah.
Sony released so many products today.
They did a Smartwatch 3. They finally switched to Android Wear. It's just like a little puck that you put into these horrible colored bands.
Yeah.
They might have some special software on top of Wear someday, but like it's a pretty uninspiring Android Wear device. And then they've got a fitness band that uses e-paper. It's got a curved display. It's something talk. And you can make phone calls on it. You can snap your fingers to start and stop your music.
I don't know why.
It seems terrible.
So speaking of, I mean, like the last 3 products here, the Sony smartwatch. This is their third smartwatch, and like it's just like, why'd you do that? Like,
well, at least we don't have to watch Sony try and like cram Android onto a tiny screen anymore, right? Like there used to be home and back and like menu buttons on these things.
But that was fake Android.
Well.
Anyway, like whatever. So like just try harder at this, Sony. And then lastly, this is my favorite of them all. A $300 MP3 player, the A17 Walkman. So bring back the Walkman line. It is literally as though there was a caveman frozen in a warehouse who woke up and was like, I have to do this. It has no click wheel, it has no touchscreen. It's the 4 buttons that failed in every product in 2006. And it plays, it upsamples your music.
Yes.
It claims it's super high end.
Yeah.
There's no syncing software. You have to drag and drop music onto it over USB. I mean, it is just the perfect product for 2006. It is, and the whole claim is like Neil Young is doing this Pono thing that's like really high end audio. Sony has a high end audio line of like receivers and amps and all this like audiophile stuff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone else is just listening to music on their phones, like through Beats audio streaming, and I just don't, or Spotify or whatever. And I don't understand this product, except for the audacity of existence.
Yeah,
like it's here.
The only thing I can think is that it costs them nothing to make it, and so they're like, well, look, people are buying our e-readers, so maybe they'll want to buy our MP3 players.
Didn't they just cancel their e-readers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a while they were selling them.
They took the e-reader staff and
they're like, what are you going to do now?
Like, you guys and like the best idea of the e-reader staff was like, what if we do an MP3 player?
Sure, why not?
Sony.
There it is.
Doing it right. Subscribe.